Okay, see you soon. I wish to initially talk about meditation, a topic, of course, that has been spoken about many times. This would not be even the 10th time, it'd be a lot more. And this is because there are still some inconsistencies, some requiring further assistance and clarification about what meditation is. So I attempt to give further clarification for you. If you think that in the beginning there is silence, and then there is words or action put onto the silence, and then there is a projection onto those words. Now, you could say the way to realization is in the opposite direction, removing projections, then the thoughts, and then finding the silence. But what some people seem to do is create an extra identity. This, of course, is the natural process of the ego mind. So therefore, they sit in attempted silence and they project a person that is meditating in front of them. And they attempt to alter that person in front. Now, I am not talking about being aware of being aware. I'm talking about one seems to look through another set of eyes to a false self that is in front. And then they work on that false self. And they acquire the knowledge that the false self needs and not take the step into the real self. So one then chases answers externally and sees events happening, but does not take the step into being the silence itself. Now, if you were grounded in your real self, you would see a very similar process. And it may look like this: I am me, there is a thought, and there is the desire to action or the analysis of that thought. When you are doing it incorrectly, it looks a different way. There is the silence. There is one that meditates. I must fix the one that meditates. I must bring the silence to that false form. I need to acquire silence. I need to acquire stillness. The acquisition is not from the external, but is released or opened to, that is internal. So in your meditation time, the answer is still inwards. If you have excessive thought, look inwards. If you have compulsions to act and to do, the body is pushing you to do something, look inwards. Look for the stillness that is there. Do not try to acquire the stillness, but release the stillness. If you watch your mind And if you are diligent enough, you will see the mind is pulling you to do and to seek external answers for what it is you think you lack. The stillness, the silence, the love, the peace, the knowledge. It is revealed forever inwards. And the result is you will not acquire stillness. But the correct way is you will be the stillness. There stops being stillness of being and starts being stillness because that is who you are. If you observe yourself in the next few meditations, look at what is occurring. Am I creating a projection? Am I looking externally for an answer? Am I trying to fix an external sense of self? Or am I going inwards and deeper inwards to reveal the stillness that is already there? Now, without looking inwards, you will find my words confusing, because the difference is very subtle, but the effect is very great. Make sure that you are going in to be the stillness and not outwards to acquire stillness. Remember, the thoughts are on top of the silence. Now, it is the same with realization. You are already realized, but you create the thought about it, and hence a projection, and hence false self. It is the stripping away to reveal what is already there. The true going inwards is the experience, not the acquisition. Energy moves through and around the body. And one who is walking the path towards self-understanding would see a body and feel energy, and feel the flow of energy, if you are astute enough, that flows naturally all the way around and through. In fact, the truth is, it's very difficult to find where the energy starts and stops, and this surrounding energy where the body starts and stops within this field or this bubble of energy. But with greater awareness, you can see that the energy follows the certain pathways. It is simply a case of looking and observing the way the energy flows, and you become aware to such a fine level that you can manipulate the way your nerves may work. But this does take some skill. You can also start to control the way your prana, your life force, works with this body and maybe works externally to the body. And we spoke before that the energy of the Kundalini is stored at the base of the spine. And some would say that this is just a myth. It'd be far more useful to you for the person to actually look and discover, rather than to accept or reject the words that I say. Now, the energy that is stored here will flow at times through the body, but only a limited amount and not the full expression. And the energy will flow up and down. What we are saying is the Shushumna line, the line that is quite related to the spinal column. And it will flow through various pathways. And if it is uninhibited, will give a great sense of vigor within the mind of the spiritual person. Now, this sense of vigor brings vitality to the being. And one who practices some spirituality will find in time that their vigor, if you would like that word, becomes more dominant within their life. Now, this is in part to do with the clarification of the energy flow through the person. And that clarification we are calling spirituality. There are other ways and other words which may also fit. So the flow of energy flowing along certain channels awakens a set of vigor and also provides a vitality to life that starts to be seen by external sources. So one may look at a person and say, they are glowing, they are radiant, they are youthful, the stresses of their life is falling away. They feel more aligned, more truthful, more loving, more complete. They have a greater self-esteem. They feel more connected both to themselves and to others. Less damages the person. And then if one is to withdraw their spirituality over time, one would feel more lethargic, more difficult to undertake thoughts and actions. They become more indecisive. They show the signs on their body and their skin of a demeanor that is depleted. Their sense of self becomes minimalized. Their sleep patterns become more difficult. Their desire to jump out of bed becomes, well, a thing of yesterday. Now, the energies of the body in various types can be reflected into this sense of self. And I'm sure those of you which understand the flow of energy or the way the energy is affected by physical activity, spiritual activity, or even the food you eat. The natural flow would be one of more calmness and stillness. The correct food, the correct exercise, the correct rest. If one becomes even more spiritual and their meditation practice becomes deeply ingrained with them, you'll find that less and less sleep is required. as the energy that is stored is starting to release in greater quantities and flow through the being to such an easier way that the whole being feels alive. To achieve this level, then there is a greater or a broader expression of the spirituality in one's life. One may follow multiple paths, all under the name of spirituality. But it is like cleansing the body, cleansing the mind, clearing the heart. Then one just seems to be able to work longer hours, if work is the correct word, without any disruption. And they can work in the first hour with the same intensity of, let us say, the 10th hour. The body starts to look younger. The stresses drop away. The ease of the way life works becomes very apparent. So for this energy to be true, and for one to start feeling more connected to their prana, their life force, a whole range of activities may take place. As I said, the cleansing of heart, mind, and body. And of course, there are many different activities under each one which may be appropriate. As this work begins, blockages may be cleared, which may mean various thoughts may be needing to be brushed away. Karmas and desires must be cleansed away. So let's look at this from a different angle. Because at the moment we are looking at it in terms of the body and the life being lived. If you look down on someone undertaking this work from the viewpoint of the non-physical self, you would see the person is withdrawing their life force. Withdrawing perhaps is the wrong word, my apologies. Is allowing the life force to flow more smoothly between the physical body, the mental body, and the causal body, the soul body. And each of these three bodies become more alive. And there is less attachment to the physicality. So you could say one exercise would be, if you have a problem, a difficulty, a challenge, with which body do you have that challenge? Is it in your physical world, your mental world, or maybe your soul world, or your soul body, if you want the word body? Where is it? Now, of course, if there's a challenge, for example, in your relationship with your husband or wife, or with your work friend, by taking one step back and looking at what is occurring, let us say first with your mind, you may then see that the challenges are created by the mind. As soon as you become aware of that, take another step back and look at your situation from the sense of soul. Now, the soul here is observing, is watching. And then if you believe, or discover would be far better, that the issue that you are facing is because of karma. Karma, of course, will go from life to life with the mind. By stepping away from the flow of karma, you start to see it for what it is. Now, this, again, should not be believed, but should be experienced. And as you take step after step from one body to another body and still further, then the pains and the joys of karma become less prevalent to that individual. There is a clarifying, there is a step away, there is the ability to walk out of the movie theatre of the play of life, to see it all by changing your viewpoint to all. So what has this to do with the first discussion about meditation? If you remember the words, silence, then thought, then projection. Are these not the three bodies of gross, subtle, and causal? If you can accept one example of meditation, you must then accept the other explanation. If you would like to assist your meditation, you can do so by undertaking activity of a small amount of correct exercise, of times working in contemplation to clear the mind, of times of eating correctly, the correct food at the correct time of day, and I suppose the correct season, of allowing the flow from above to below. Again, we come back to the analogy of the diamond. The clear diamond that allows the flow of truth all the way through, without trying to hold it, just let it be expressed. If you are having trouble in meditation, step back by looking inwards. And you go through one gate and then another gate and another. And you will see this working very easily from a greater viewpoint. And it will be seen in one's being both by yourself, but to a limited degree, but by others. Your process of meditation, the flow of energy through you, the three bodies of causal, subtle, and gross. The practice is very interlinked. As one becomes clearer, so does the other. clear body, then you clear mind, and then you come to soul, and then you go beyond that. It is very difficult to actually find your soul. But it is not so hard to find your sense of soul. It is by watching what is occurring. It is harder to find your spirit, as it is far more subtle, and it is far more expansive. As the soul becomes more and more light, its expansion takes place. And it awakens to its connectedness and its oneness, to all things. Now, every living thing has a soul. A mountain, a tree, a flower. You could say that the tree is always unified. It is just an expression of the purity of consciousness. But the human has far greater difficulty, because the human has this sense of self, the ability to reason, means it stands apart from all other animal, all other matter, and has dominion over them all. But to get there, it has an immense amount of difficulty. But it's constantly projecting and playing a play without realizing its purity. Because the intellect is very attached to the human and is only instinctive or mildly intellectual within other animals or plants. Because of that intellect, the attachment to it, and the conscious flow through it, then what appears is an individual. So when you achieve your understanding, then all the world is a reflection of God. Or if you want, you see love everywhere. Of course, that is stepping back and stepping back, cleansing as one takes the step back. So the very first part of spirituality for man is the cleansing of the base chakra. Allowing it to be open and not tight. Allowing it to feel safe wherever you go. And this chakra then governs all the associated organs and parts of the body within that area. And unless one feels that they are truly connected of where they are and secure in their environment, no spirituality is possible. So hence, the animal, the dog or the cat, is constantly working with just the base emotions and instincts and habits. And although it has a spine and thus has a sushumna line, it will only be an expression that works on a very limited basis compared to the human. Now, this base chakra is critically important for meditation. It is the first step. It is the disconnection in terms of meditation from the physical world. Just for 10 minutes or 20 or 30 or an hour. So if you wish to build your sense of self, your feeling of safety, you must meditate with this chakra. And meditation will open the chakra, and opening and comforting the chakra will also ease the meditation. It is often thought as the most minimal chakra. But light cannot flow through if there is a block at one end. So I work with this chakra, will give you the flow of life. And allow your vitality, your energy to rise. It will improve your meditation. By letting it be open. Step back from your sense of self. And then step back still further. Do not try to acquire through projection onto an extra self in meditation. Go within still deeper. Do not follow the thought, go within, beyond the thought. There is no acquisition required, just a release of what is there. The flow of life force begins outside of any physical body. And it will flow into the body, giving it a perception of life, but it is much more than a physicality. It allows a flow of information through certain channels from above to below. And it will withdraw from the physical and at the appropriate time, and the life force will carry on. So even when the body comes to its demise, life will still carry on. The life would pick up another body. The consciousness then has a choice. Is it compelled to pick up another body or not? And this is determined by the karma and desires of man. Alas, today we never got to our healing list. Well, let's do it now, just before we close. My apologies, Brandon. Could I have the healing list now, please?
No need to ever apologize. Stephanie, Holly, and Carol, Lisa, Liza, Jody, Kristen, and June, Jen, Danny, and Tegan, Anne Marie Lynch, Petra R., Laura, Carrie G., Ant and Leela Collins, Helen, Bob and Val Oswald, Howard, Deborah, Teresa, Courtney, Justin Hendricks, Mira, Lorna, Bill, Kathy, and Therese. Thank you.
We will talk again next week. God bless you all. Mm.